Hello everybody, I'm Brian and this is Brian's Garden. More specifically, today this is Brian's Grow Room. It's April 9th, 2024. So let's go take a walk through here. I'll show you what I got going on. Alright, this is where I start most of my seeds. I have a heat mat here. Everything's pretty much started, so now I have a nice clear workstation. I just want to point out a few things that make my life a lot easier up in the grow room. First thing were these light cables that I hooked up. I used to use chains and hook them into little S hooks or whatever, and my hands have pretty good arthritis going on there, and it was very difficult to adjust the lights. So I bought these. They were not expensive. A set of two was like $3, so I splurged and got enough for all the lights I have. The other thing that comes in really handy is a skewer for a grill. These little wooden dowels or whatever. Pick up seeds nicely, move plants around a little bit. These work really well. This is a little nipper, little scissor. Very good for topping off peppers and removing unwanted plants from the soil, so you don't pull them up and pull up the good plants with it. Just snip that. These things work really well. What I use for plant tags are these horizontal blinds. This was a set that I replaced, put new ones up, and I kept these for some reason, and it turns out that they are very good plant markers. From one horizontal blind I get 8 plant tags, so cheap, and I would just want in the garbage. So, and let's see, and these are potatoes that I've chitted, and what I do is I remove all the eyes, but like on this piece here I only have one eye that's growing a chit or whatever they call them. This one here I got one on that, and this one here I got 2. And what I do is I dig out the other eyes, so it just leaves 1 or 2. And what this does is, well, I did it a few years ago and it did work. What it does is you don't get as many potatoes, but you get larger potatoes. So that's my aim this year, is bigger potatoes. So I got these out and I got a bunch more. Then over here I got my microscope set up. I like looking at the worm castings and all that good stuff, and the compost, and when I start making aerated teas I really use it a lot to make sure I'm not putting any fungus that's harmful onto my plants. Then underneath my workstation here, got a worm bin for all the debris that comes along with the grow room, and this is how I fertilize my plants up here. This is a bag of compost, and there's probably worms in there, but I just use these bags, same bags I use for aerated teas in the summertime, and I just swish them in a 5-gallon bucket, and that's the only fertilizer I used up here this year, besides the hydroponic conventional setup. And this is it. That's all I use. And the worms, as I go through on, like all those potatoes that I chitted, this is all the debris from them. And they're actually already growing roots. I knew they would. See, this is one of those chits from the potatoes, and it's got roots growing on it. I figured that. But this is how I feed the plants, and this is why I raise worms, because I have all this beautiful material for the garden outside. Underneath there, that's a full spectrum light. And I got some lettuce and some broccoli stuck under there for now. Hopefully I can get some lettuce out tomorrow, actually. So we'll see if I can get this out in the dirt. All right, I'm coming over here, and here's my potty mix. This is my my blend of 40% compost, 40% leaf mold, and 20% worm castings. And it works really good for me. All right. Now what I got here is a bunch of plants. Lettuce. This is the unconventional my solution. I had a video on that, and I'm still harvesting off it. Those back there are doing much better. Here are some yarrow that I started. They're perennial here in Wisconsin, I guess, so I'll have a good start with the yarrow. A lot of marigolds. A friend of mine, he has me grow them for him every year, and I use them too. This is an alpaca tomato that I put in the hydroponic, and I'll show you a little further down how nice this looks compared to some of the other alpacas. All right, these flowers here, these are 4 o'clocks. I really like these. And these are a red one. Some basil. And I got some more lettuce and sweet marjoram. And back here are what the alpaca seedlings look like every year. So I just tried the hydroponics, see if that helps transplanting them outside. And there's some cilantro and parsley, some more celery, sweet marjoram. I never grew this before, so that's kind of interesting. Here's my sweet potato slips. I wrap them up in paper towel so the water wicks up. It doesn't have to be full of water all the time. And I put some worm casting extract in there for a little nutrient. But these need to get in some potting mix. And there's some peppers there. I got a bunch of varieties of peppers. And there's some more 4 o'clocks and another one of my favorite flowers, Cosmos. And over here I have a bunch of potatoes getting ready to plant hopefully next week. Alright, on the shelf unit here, let's see, these are oriental poppies. I planted these 3-4 years ago, and now every year they give me these beautiful seed pods, and I picked one like in February and decided to grow some more, so I have a lot. Here are tomatoes. I've got some potted up, some are not. I have a bunch of varieties of those. I'll just go them through quickly here, because I always forget. Alright. Early Girl, Sun Sugar, Sweet Millions, Homage Paste, Pink, Brandywine, Abe Lincoln, Boxcar Willie, Arkansas Travelers, a Spoon Tomato that was a freebie from Baker Creek, and of course the alpacas. Alright, here's some more tomatoes. I started these about 2 weeks after those. And more flowers, zinnias, there's some dill, and a friend wants me to grow them some fennel, so there's some fennel. And these little guys here are the spoon tomatoes. They're very, very tiny tomatoes. That'd be kind of cool. And over here, I got more marigolds and more zinnias. And these Monarch of the Veldt, these little guys are really pretty little. They're big like a daisy, and they have orange and black centers to them. They're really neat. More marigolds. There's the tomatoes popped up. Up here, oh, more marigolds. And here's some other flowers that I enjoy. That's a nasturtium. And these are cardinal climbers with the boomerang leaves. And some more of the 4 o'clocks. Here's some alyssum. And more yarrow. More yarrow. More alyssum. And more of the oriental poppies. Now, I have been growing these cardinal climbers for, this will be my 4th year. You do not want to put these in a 6-pack, because these vines, they just go bonkers. This thing, if you have 4 of these in a, or 6 of these in a 6-pack, they're gonna all get twisted, and you'll spend more time untwisting these little vines and ultimately damaging them. So I put them in individual pots now. Works a lot better. And here's my sweet potatoes that I started. Now these sweet potatoes, I did a little different this year. I did not cure these two. And by curing, you put them on heat for like 10 days, 12 days, and humidity. But I just left these under the bed up here in a paper bag. And then when I started these in January, these things were, within 10 days, they were sprouting slips. And I also had them on a heat mat. So that's my new recipe for growing slips. Uncured sweet potatoes on a heat mat and soil, and boom. And I stick whatever else seeds I have laying around, some marigolds in there. And that's about that. And then over here, I have my peppers. Oh. I'm going to turn off this. This is another full spectrum light. It's a little blinding. But peppers I have Corno del Toro's, Melrose, King of the North, California Wonder, Jalapeno, Cayenne, Shishito, and Banana. And what I do with them is I top them off. Those little scissors were really nice to work with. And then they start sprouting out at the armpits along the stem. It makes for bushier plants. And it's really noticeable on this basil. See all those? They will eventually do that to some degree, but when you top them off, then they just bush out some more. Another thing I do with the peppers, there were 32 peppers in this tray, potted up in these 3-inch pots. And then I cut them in half, so there's 16 in each. Gives them more room to grow, and they're not as crowded. Back there is some tango celery. And that's really about it. Another thing that's pretty good to have going, and you'll notice I have fans. It keeps the air movement, but with that, it dries the plants out a lot quicker. So you really got to stay on top of them. Every 2 days I'm up here watering. And I bottom water with the worm casting and the compost extract. I just want to show you what that looks like. It's an amber color, and that's from the humic and fumic acid that the worms create. And it's really good for full of enzymes, a lot of good stuff in that. And I think that's why my plants, they do so well up here in my grow room. So thank you for watching, and everybody have a good day. Bye now.